Standards Practice Week 15. Number 1. What is the recursive formula for the following sequence? 4, 16, 64, 256. On a different Standards Practice Week, I don't remember which number, but we talked about the recursive formula. You have to know what your first initial value is, and then how do you get to everyone based off the one before it. So how did I get to 16 from 4? How do I get to 64 from 16? How did I get to 256 from 64? So it's all based off this very first value. So I have to know what a sub 1 is. That means the first value is 4. So I can automatically eliminate this one because it says a sub n, and this one because it says a sub n. Well, I really don't have to figure out anything else because this says a sub 1 equals 0, which is not true. And so it's this one. So that was super easy. But just so you know, this part just says that you take 4 and times it by the previous term. So I take 4 times 4 gives me 16, times 4 gives me 64, times 4 which gives me 256, and so forth. So let's look at the next problem. Number 2, a population of lizards in a large region doubles every year. The number of lizards can be modeled by the equations seen below, where x is the number of years after a researcher measures the population size. When x equals -3, what is the y value? Type only your numerical answer in the space provided below, which means don't give units. Okay, so according to this, it started with 500 lizards, gross, and then the 2 raised to the x, that means it doubles every year. So if it was 3 raised to x, it would triple every year. So it wants to know what is x to the raised to the, they want to know what is the value when x equals -3. So I am just going to plug it in. So 500 times 2 raised to the -3. And if you're doing it on a calculator, I'd be very cautious. I'm not sure what calculator you're using, but maybe put parentheses around your -3. It's going to be a value smaller than 500 because 2 raised to the -3 is the same thing as 1 over 2 to the third. So figure out what this number is. We don't need to know that number lizards. Just give me that number. Next page. Use the situation below to answer the following questions. There are 6 mice in the attic. Their population is growing at a rate of 12% per month. Okay, ew. Okay, so 6 mice in the attic growing at a rate of 12% each month. So you start out with 6, and then it's 1 plus, because it's growing, whatever this is as a decimal. So 12% is decimal is 0.12. And then x is going to be your time frame, which is every month. So this is what it's going to look like. You would add this to simplify it, and then that's your answer to number 3. So let's look at number 4. How many mice will there be in the attic in 2 years, assuming nothing is going to slow it down or stop the growth rate, like you bring in extermination? Type your only numerical answer in the space provided below, rounded to the 10th place. So we're not rounding to the nearest rat or mouse. So if you have 1 plus 0.12, you're just going to put this down 2 years. So for 2 years, that's the same thing as 24 months. And since we did it up here where x was months, you're going to put 24 right here. So type it in, just do 6 plus 1.2 to the 24th. Figure out what this answer is, and make sure you round to the first decimal place because it says 10th place, and that is your answer.